it really smells like the back room of a comedy club. I haven't been in the back of a comedy club in a while. Where's the big bags of popcorn? It has been a while. Okay?
This is a list from 3 months ago. And this is stuff written today.
I'm glad I haven't.
These are just some fleeting thoughts that I had in the car driving down here. They're not funny now, but I'll make them funny on stage.
This is 5 to 10 years ago, this list.
Jerry, you know, it's still not late to do that president joke. I have it written down right here.
We got elected.
Today'd be a good day to do it. Oh, how you doing, Arnie? This thing, just the ego of anybody that says they want to be president is just ridiculous. There's actually no jump to president. It just sounds insane when you think about it.
Okay, this is where I go up to the stage.
You're going to go on Garry Shandling? What fucking night. Great.
I haven't, I'm not married, and yet, and I look fantastic, you know, if I may say. Well, I mean, you know, I look fantastic. I don't, do I look old enough to have a 15-year-old dog? Seriously. People find out how old my dog is, they go, my God, you must have gotten him when you were a kid. He's adopted.
Yeah. Garry's really opening up tonight. Only very funny.
Your stuff was so good the other night. I was telling somebody, you know, I could have been depressed or inspired.
They're really both the same
And there
thing.
was, yeah.
This is how hypocritical the government is with Viagra. You take a drug like ecstasy, which I've never done. I've done agony and despair. Those are fantastic. That is a good low. You can cry at just about anything. So, the ecstasy, which is a drug that puts you in the mood to have sex, that's illegal. But a drug that gives you a hard-on for no reason whatsoever, hey, fine. Make as much of it as you can. That's what's causing all this violence, is you got these guys taking Viagra with no one to have sex with, and they're walking around with hard-ons going, I'll fucking shoot this thing off. I'm gonna go get a gun. That's what they should actually have a 15-day waiting period for Viagra to make sure you got someone to fuck that they do with guns.
What a great night.
What a
Gary,
great
how
night.
great were you?
Sensational. What a great fun show.
Well, I'm mostly just thinking about how I did.
I'm sure you are, but it was fantastic.
You did great, Garry.
Really
I
great.
really thought you did
You
great.
really did.
That's the first time I've been on. You were great. That's all it meant. But I'll tell you this.
No, you were
I
great.
think proportionately speaking, for the amount of stage time, I was.
Yeah, you were the best because you really have done it the
I'm
least.
like an amateur.
Right.
I think people felt the worst for you. You know,
I think the audience was pulling for me.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
So you're gonna start
I could have
going?
edited tonight. I'm gonna start. I think.
Well, what are you gonna do? You gonna do some gigs? So what are you gonna do with it? Go on TV? Why are you working? I'm just curious.
You know what I really related to when you said I'm doing nothing, and if I did something, then I would have to drop that. Am I right?
Right.
That's
drop everything.
I totally relate that.
Yeah.
Relate to that completely.
Yeah. There's a lot in that nothing.
Yeah, there's a lot. That nothing might be the way you're supposed to live. Here, this is the stuff that you did that I hadn't heard the other night, or that's just.
That was your list?
It's short because it's all so good.
So you're reminding me of what I did?
The stuff that I particularly loved, which I thought was important to you, but clearly I've made some mistake.
And how long is the list, Garry? Because it was an
I
hour
thought you
long.
have jokes for me.
I didn't have any.
A couple of times tonight I did jokes better than I've ever done them. And the difference between doing a joke, you know, properly, do it well, do it the right way, and then that other level of just slinging it or spinning it in some way.
Yeah, you have a moment of inspiration.
Yeah, as you're doing the joke.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets this reaction that's like double.
Yeah.
And it's always like, but it's the same idea. And then you start to realize they're not really laughing at the joke. They're laughing at you.
Right.
Do you then remember that method?
There's no no, it's not a method. It's a feeling that you have to latch onto as it's kind of skipping through your brain.
Recoverable? I mean, reusable? You say that's the way that works best?
Well, in certain jokes, you find a thing that's the right way to do that joke. I really nailed down tonight, for example, that when the AIDS and cancer goes, I don't think we completely thought this thing through. I got to look one way and then the other. And it somehow breaks up that line a little bit. It's kind of a long line and makes them, I guess, seem a little, frustrated or something. and that's something that I'll duplicate. But most of your deliveries, you're kind of making up as you go along. I did a whole bit. That DNA bit I did, I wanted the bit to be about originally that we are props for DNA.
Mm-hmm.
DNA has been here for thousands of years, going to be here for thousands of years. It's just using us temporarily to get from your parents to your kids. That's all it is. That we're just, and it was too hard for the audience to grasp all this, but the way I tried to explain it was one time I was working at a club that had magic, and I asked, and the magician had a cockatoo, and I said, how long do these cockatoos last? How long do they live? And he said they can live to be like 150 years, so it means the cockatoo is thinking, how many years am I going to get out of this magician? The cockatoo is the act. The magician is passing
Come and go.
through.
That's great.
Which, if this was the crowd, I could do it, but that was
The baby thing tonight was great with in that regard. Smart and terrific.
Yeah, yeah.
And the baby sitting in the back of the room
played.
just saying that's very
Yeah,
good.
but I struggled for months trying to make that work. It just wouldn't work.
When I follow a magic act where the guys use birds, cool birds, I say to the audience that they shouldn't be concerned that those are birds that were raised in sport jackets. And that they're not birds from the wild.
That's funny. I talked to somebody, I was talking about you to somebody one time. We were talking about the validity of having structure to an act, an arcing structure to the whole act. And you were and I used to notice about you in very early days. I don't even know if you know this about yourself. I'm sure you do. You would have a way of, with your hands, of making the audience think there is an overarching story that I'm telling you. And you would keep telling you, and you would, I don't even remember how you do it. You do something like this, you go, so anyway, you have like your hand like this.
Right.
Like we're going back to the theme now.
I know.
You do a joke, and then, anyway, and the effect was that we're seeing a larger story being told.
That's accurate.
And the thing is, how much does that really help individual jokes when you have an arc is it better for a comedian to have an arc? I mean, you would kind of you gave the illusion of having one, which I think, don't you think that helped the jokes?
Yeah, I think first of all, stylistically, I have a method of starting to tell a story. So I was with this woman, and we were on the couch.
Right.
We had gone to this restaurant, and then I'm off on the tangent.
Right.
So then I go, after 10 minutes, I go, anyway, so we're on the couch.
Right.
That's
You did it tonight with the dog.
Yeah.
You did it tonight
I
with
do
the
it
dog.
with the dog.
The dog
It's a style
begins
of
at 5 minutes
Right.
of something else, and
Yeah.
then so the dog was laying there.
Right.
Yeah, it's great.
Now,
'Cause
I think, frankly, and I never thought of this till right now, seriously, I inherited that style from my mother, who starts a story and goes off, and you have to say to her, remember what you were talking about.
Right.
Well, I'm able to do that. So, but I've inherited part of the style where I start up, and then as we're talking now, I could say, by the way, that comedian who did and go off on that, and come back and go, anyway, sorry, and keep going. And I do think it's how people talk, and the audience can follow. And sometimes I used to have to say, sorry, don't you jump around when you talk. But I do think that. As a writer and so forth, that the arc and and there's more story to be told than just the jokes. I think it leaves the audience with some sense of, who you are.
Your whole act could really be about the pressure you feel to get married and not be married. Almost every joke you have you could somehow play into that this is, because it is a nagging thought.
I think it's one key area of my material in my life, and the other ones are any struggle of the human spirit and any struggle to find oneself, and I think that's what it's about. So it certainly is about, is my life about getting married? Is it about continuing to work? Is it about getting approval from the audience? Is it about, and those are the areas that I explore.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you might as well know now. I've been married, and I'm currently married. I have 4 children. The whole single guy can't commit is purely a choice
Really?
and act. Yeah, I have
You cynical
4 children.
bastard.
I have the pictures and everything. I just didn't want anybody, I just don't.
It was such good material.
It was just such good material.
Yeah, plus you were getting laid behind it also.
Oh my God! My wife would say, "Why don't you ever mention me in the act?"